everybody! So today I had the chance to see the new live action version of Beauty and the Beast, and most of you know, who follow this channel, know that I have not been a big fan of the marketing of this movie. I'm not a big fan of these remakes as a whole. I wish that Disney wasn't doing them, but I don't really mind some of the movies. I really liked Pete's Dragon, I really liked Cinderella, I liked Jungle Book. I didn't love it, but I liked it. I did not like either of the Alice movies, and I didn't like the Maleficent. Very much didn't like Maleficent. So the movies aren't really a problem for me. What a problem for me is the marketing and the way Disney seems to need to put down the original films in order to puff up their new film, which really bums me out, and the way they try to sell live action as being inherently sort of better, more relevant, more modern. And I don't really like that as a fan of traditional animation. And just, there were so many things in the marketing of this movie that drove me completely crazy and I hated. So there you go. But again, that doesn't necessarily have to do anything with the movie. So here we've got this movie, and what do I think? Well, let me talk about the positives, and I'll talk about the negatives, and then I'm gonna do a really sort of nitpicky kind of review that is just for, this review is more for just more casual moviegoers who are just looking for a good time at the movies, and then I'm gonna do another one that's very nitpicky and is only for like hardcore Disney fans. The positives about this film is the set pieces are really fun, sort of the big song and dance sort of set pieces, all the costumes and the dancing and everything like that and are really good. Most of the singing is good in those segments, and they're very infectious. Be Our Guest, Belle, the Gaston was really good. All of those are sort of, I think, the most iconic three numbers out of the original movie. And they're all done very well. I've got the ballroom scene, but as far as like a group number is very big and full and fun, and you feel like you're a part of things, and it's very good. Also really liked Gaston as a character. I did like the fleshing out that he did of his character and kind of making him more sympathetic, which I think made him more interesting. And the way that he really does seem to be like actually in love with Belle, which in the animated film, you never really got that, because you think the only reason he's interested in her is because she's the most beautiful girl in town, and that makes her the best. So I liked that. I liked actually LeFou. I thought he was a good character, the way that they kind of added sort of more choices to his character. They made him a little bit more interesting. So I liked that. Another thing that I liked is they did add a lot of humor to the script, and I did laugh quite a bit, and I think they did a really good job with that. So that's good. I just thought overall it's like a fine movie. It's kind of similar to what I thought about a lot of blockbusters last year. Like if you were looking to go and have, it's kind of like what I thought about Rogue One. I thought that Rogue One had a lot of problems, but if you're just looking to go to an action movie, then it's fine and you'll have a fine time. I think that kids will really enjoy this, and they'll have sort of a princess experience, and so I think they'll like it. And that's good. Yay, great. So I do have negatives though, of things that I didn't really like about it. My biggest problem, and this was a problem that I had in the stills and publicity and everything like that, which they had so many clips for this movie. It was insane. But I have a problem with all of the character designs, pretty much. They just were all so busy or flat. Funny, because I got more emotion out of 2D animated characters than I ever got from most of these characters. A lot of them, it was even hard to just even see their faces. It was hard to see Lumiere's face, where in the animated film, it's actually part of the white part, and so you really see the expressions, you see what he's feeling. And if you are going to have a character in a movie, you need to be able to see their mouths. And that's just like an important thing. And also, even with a dog, you need to see their mouths. And that was a big problem for me, especially because they actually upped the stakes quite a bit with the household objects and what's going to happen to them with the curse, and they're tied to the curse and other things like that. Mrs. Potts was completely flat, as opposed to the animated where you have movement because the spout is part of her nose. This is just like flat on the side of the teapot. And so you're not getting the same kind of expression. You're not getting the same kind of, and for, like I said, for Lumiere and Cogsworth, I didn't even see any expression. And so it's all up to the voice actors. And I thought that they were okay. I thought that Ewan McGregor's accent fell in and out. And I thought that Ian McKellen was fine as Cogsworth. But none of them were able to completely like overcome this problem. I had the same problem with the Beast. His first of all, he just looked weird. The special effects just didn't quite do it for me. And I just didn't get the emotion in his face that I needed for some of these scenes. I still think he kind of looks like Krampus. And this one I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for, but I also thought that Emma Watson was really flat. I didn't think that I just thought her acting was kind of wooden, and I didn't get the emotions that I needed. And because of that, I didn't feel like there was that great of chemistry between the Beast and Belle, and you really need that to pull off this story. Also, wasn't a big fan of the backstory sort of sections, particularly with Belle. I just thought it got kind of boring, and maybe it's just because I wasn't getting that emotion from them that I wanted, and so the scenes didn't really do a whole lot for me. I liked the backstory and the additional material we got with Gaston and LeFou. Didn't really like it with Belle or Beast. I just didn't think it really did a whole lot. The new songs I just thought were very unmemorable and very flat. I mean, 2 of them were like probably 30 seconds, were really short. That surprised me. And then I don't know, just the other ones, they were just, to me, very bland and generic songs. They weren't bad songs, but they didn't do anything for me. And then the final thing that was a huge problem is the singing, especially Emma Watson. I just thought that her singing was bad. I'm sorry. I thought it was auto-tuned. I thought it sounded really bad. And she needs to sell a lot of these big numbers. It's not like some of these other performances, say like Maui in Moana, where it's one song that he sings. And so it's a little bit more forgivable. And that song was written for somebody with no range. These songs were not written for somebody with no range. And the one that's the best, ironically, is her new song, because that was written for her range. And so it sounds much better. But I thought it sounded auto-tuned, and I just didn't think it sounded very good. And you can really, the problem is that in most musicals, say like Mamma Mia or something like that, first of all, that fits because it's a disco musical. It fits to have the auto-tuned, but also kind of everybody sucks. And so it doesn't matter as much when you have one that's really bad. But I thought that in this, it really stuck out because all the background singers and some of the additional singers were all really, really good. And they had these really good numbers. But then her vocals would come on, and it just sounded bad to me. I didn't like it. So all of that coming in, I do think that it is a perfectly harmless movie. I think that kids will enjoy it. I think that families will enjoy it. I think that it has those fun numbers that people will like. The production values are strong as far as the costumes and just the epic scope of it. I think that people will like. I think that some kids might get a little bored in certain sections, but it's not too scary, I don't think. I think you can take your whole family to this. I think that they will have a fine time. They will enjoy it. But for me, I would give it the same grade I gave Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the same grade I gave Rogue One, the same grade I've given a lot of movies that I think are just, they're fine, but not great. I'm gonna give it a C+, and I think that's fair. So let me know what you think of Beauty and the Beast, and thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!